This is the Wrestling Replay. I am Cato. Welcome to episode number 34. I hope all is well. Today, we have to talk about AEW Dynamite. We have to talk about the power of the promo. AEW did a great job. Jon Moxley kicks off this week's Dynamite with an amazing promo. He comes out in a Chicago crowd, nonetheless, gives an amazing promo to kick off the show. He leaves that open contract inside the middle of the ring saying, if anybody wants to sign any wrestler from any promotion, I don't care who I fight at All Out, but I want to defend my championship at All Out. Leaves that contract in the ring. Then we will see Ace Steel come out, grab the contract. Now, commentary did a really good job on explaining who Ace Steel was. Now, last week, he was one of the guys who helped CM Punk get out the ring when he had that foot injury. He helped him up the ramp. This week, he's the guy who grabs the contract, and he's marching it backstage. Now, commentary says, hey, this is CM Punk's best friend. This is a guy who trained CM Punk. What is he doing with the contract? Will he take the contract himself? Later on, the answers of why he did what he did, well, the questions to why he did what he did will be answered. CM Punk came in front of that Chicago crowd. And once again, he put on an amazing promo. It started off with him kind of, being down on himself, doubting himself, his abilities. And it seemed like the crowd was actually turning on CM Punk. It was a few boos. You had people in the front row kind of heckling CM Punk while he was on the microphone. But then out comes Ace Steel one more time. Ace Steel comes out and he gives a very passionate, motivating, captivating speech to CM Punk to kind of get him right back on the track, kind of help him remember what he's here for, what the plan is for CM Punk. That promo or that speech that he gave to CM Punk, it turned CM Punk's promo right around. Now, being in front of that Chicago crowd, being from Chicago, he started to identify and say, look, I'm no one special. I'm like all of you. I'm from Chicago. I made it this far. I'm nothing but a kid who loved punk rock, and this is where I am now. So his speech and getting that Chicago crowd behind him, he took it one step further. Not only would he sign the contract, but he would go into the crowd, similar to how Jon Moxley, Mr. Wild Thing himself, likes to enter the ring. He went out to the crowd amongst the people of Chicago, signed the contract, and pretty much put it on notice. I will be facing Jon Moxley for that AEW championship at All Out in that main event. To take it one step further, Jon Moxley comes back out later on in the night and he cuts on another amazing promo where he says, okay, cool, it's on. We're going to fight in front of your hometown, Chicago, and everyone's behind it. We're going to do it at All Out. Give me all you got. I want that old CM Punk. Similar to how he did with Chris Jericho saying, hey, I want that Lionheart. He kind of challenged CM Punk in the same fashion. And the point being, it's the promos. The promos made this episode of Dynamite a really good episode of Dynamite. It brought you right back to All Out. If you was on the fence about getting All Out like I was, I definitely want to see this matchup again. I don't mind seeing matchups, the same matchups happen even in a short span of time if the foundation is laid correctly. Now, I still have some gripe about how this whole storyline played out. I still would not have had these guys go into a matchup last week, but I understand why they did it. You got a ratings boost from the match between Moxley and CM Punk for the AEW Championship. If you kind of knew what you was going to do, you left a cliffhanger at that episode of Dynamite to come into this week to see who will Jon Moxley face for the AEW Championship. And then CM Punk comes out and he delivers another hell of a promo, answers that challenge. And now it's like, okay, I have to go see All Out because I have to see how this story actually ends between Jon Moxley and CM Punk. So that was a really good job that they did. But for me personally, I still wouldn't have had the matchup. I would have pushed everything a week back. I would let Jon Moxley face somebody else, have a nice a match where you have to kind of gut it out. You have to show his heart and determination and win that matchup. Now, after he wins that match, I would have let CM Punk pop up on the Titantron. I would have let him say, hey, in the doctor's office, I'm all cleared. The doctor, I'm ready to go. I'll be back for my title at All Out. That's what I would have did with Jon Moxley. Now, the next week, we could have had CM Punk come out or Jon Moxley come out. And the following week, we could have had the other one come out and cut their promo. And this week, it would have brought us in right here the week before, All Out, the Go Home episode. This would have been the first time I would have had Jon Moxley and CM Punk actually face to face. I don't care if it's a contract signing. I don't care if they both got to get words off their chest or whatever. But this would have been the first week I would have had these guys face to face and actually cut a promo against each other inside the middle of the ring. If you want to lead to a brawl, we could do a brawl. That could always lead to a Chicago street fight later on at the pay-per-view. So it would have meshed up perfectly without us having to get the loss to CM Punk in that fashion, because with your foot, like you said, now being 100%, this new 100%, whatever that may be, and you doing a move you normally do and injuring that same foot inside the matchup, I can't possibly believe in my mind in under 2 weeks' time you are ready to come back and All Out, that foot is going to somehow hold up. Or are you not going to use those same moves? Are you not going to use those kicks? That'll be interesting to know. But in 2 weeks' time, it's just hard to believe that that foot will now be good to go. It wasn't good to go in that matchup. I mean, you had to get carried up the ramp. So I think that little angle is the only thing that kind of hangs me up where I look at this Jon Moxley and CM Punk story. But they did a great job of reeling me right back in. I'll give them that much. They did a really good job on that. And you kind of sold that All Out pay-per-view for me, to be honest. Now, the other issue being, in this Chicago crowd, another reason why I didn't like it going how it went, where CM Punk had to lose that matchup, because at the end of Jon Moxley's speech, at the end of his first promo, the crowd started chanting MJF. You're in Chicago, the last thing I want to hear the crowd chant is MJF after my promo, knowing that CM Punk has to come out later on. Now, with doing it the way I said, keeping these guys away from each other, let it be promos, let it build up the anticipation. These guys are so good on the microphone that they don't need physicality to draw you into the match. They don't need it at all. They proved it tonight. They did not need physicality, just words in a microphone, and I'll handle the rest. Now, if these guys would have did it the way I said, no physicality, just promos, and finally letting them meet face to face the week before the pay-per-view, the week of the pay-per-view, MJF would have been the last thing on people's mind. They wouldn't have been talking about MJF until possibly after the pay-per-view. Now, granted, I think that he does have to make a return at some point. I feel like whoever wins this match between Jon and CM Punk, the other is going to kind of be, put to the back for a little bit. I don't see where they would go next after this, whoever loses this matchup. Now, we also seen a matchup between Danielson. He defeated Jack Hager. That pretty much led to the Blackpool Combat Club and the JAS all coming out after the match, having a big brawl. This feud, this storyline is kind of running its course. It's a pretty decent storyline. Mainly, I just want to see what happened with Garcia. He took that title away. He took the steel chair away from Jericho at the end of that feud, or at the end of that brawl, when he was going to hit Danielson in the head with the chair. He took that chair away from him. That started another issue with Jericho and Garcia. So I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but this is one of the storylines I'm definitely invested in, because I do like the young talent that AEW currently have on that roster. Now, last week I said it would be great if we can get a tag team matchup with Toni Storm and Shida to go against Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Well, this week they give us that matchup with Shida actually getting the pinfall victory. Now, that kind of set the tone for me. I feel like that gave her the little bit momentum going into this Fatal 4-Way match to see who will be the AEW Women's Interim Championship when it's all said and done. The only thing I wish I would have seen is Baker and Hayter kind of get into it more after the matchup, even with their partnership going on. I feel like it would have, set things in motion that Hayter may possibly be getting away from Britt Baker. Now, if you're going to create these AEW Women Tag Team Championships, by all means, keep them together. But it still would be a little nice issue going into a Fatal 4-Way match where, of course, only one person can win. Now, for me, I hope that one person person is Toni Storm, because I would love to see her and Thunder Rosa go at it one more time for the AEW Women's Championship and the AEW Women's Interim Championship, to see who will be the true champion of AEW for the women. But I think also they have a nice storyline that's already kind of played itself out, that they can already build upon. They have a nice foundation that they can use going forward. And I think not only would it make for a good match at the end, but a great story leading up to that match. Now, we will also see William Moxley. He made his debut. I would guess a debut. He'd been on AEW before, but now I assume he's officially with the AEW roster. So if you want to call it a debut, I guess we can, whatever. But this is a great addition to the AEW roster. Only problem is, I don't know where he fits in. Like, for him, I don't see him going after that TNT championship. For me, I'm keeping him away from Warlord as long as I can, because Warlord is like my young Bill Goldberg, right? He's running through all the competition, and I want to save him as long as I can. Now, William Moxley, I feel like he's like my veteran Psycho Sid coming into the company, right? I want you to go straight after the top guys. So eventually, I want to see this matchup with William Moxley and Jon Moxley. If it happens earlier than 2 months, I think they're going to ruin it. I think they're going to mess it up, because honestly, I think William Moxley should go over Jon Moxley in that matchup, and I think he should carry the AEW World Championship. He would be the first big man to carry the AEW World Championship, and he's been looking dominant. He's been looking very impressive in the past 2-3 years. With him doing this work on Impact, with him doing this work on the Indies, he's got himself in a great shape. He looks amazing. He can talk on a microphone. This kid got it all. So I would love to see him actually have a chance to carry that championship around his waist. So we also got a pretty fun matchup on AEW Dynamite, and they do this from time to time, which I like. You just throw talent in the ring, and whatever happens, happens. You throw great talent inside the ring and let these guys wrestle and put on a great show. We got that with Willa Yuta defeating Rush, Ray Phoenix, and Dante Martin. It was a great high-fly, spotty matchup. Very entertaining for the crowd. Definitely something you want to see. I believe it came off the heels of one of the promos, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a great way to pick the energy or keep the energy up, because the crowd was eating the promos up. Great way to keep the energy up. Now, in the main event, we see who moves into the finals between the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. The Elite going against Will Ospreay and Ozzy Open, and the Elite managed to defeat the United Empire, which I see they're coming a mile away, because I think the Elite is the right team to go and win that Trios tournament. Now, plot twist. A member from the Dark Order, number 10, got hurt. Who has to replace him? Hangman Page himself. I see this as a situation where Hangman Page turns on Dark Order and rejoins the Elite and help them win that Trios tournament match, or I think the Elite will just go out there and just beat the Dark Order. It just makes perfect sense. Kenny Omega came back. He promised to be better. He promised to do better in his first matchup. The second matchup, he picked it up. The third matchup, you got to think he's going to look even more sharper, especially being in the ring with some people that he already have chemistry with. So, yeah, I think that matchup is going to be really good at the All Out pay-per-view. But no doubt in my mind, the Elite will win those Trios Tag Team Championships. Let me know what you guys think about this episode of AEW Dynamite. That's about everything that pretty much happened. Oh, wait, no, we did get to see a sit-down between Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. Now, we talked about the power of the microphone, the power of the promo. Christian Cage just showed it was levels. Jungle Boy is not there yet. When you sit these two down, you try to let them talk, and there's no physicality. Jungle Boy just comes up a little bit short when he's in front of someone like Christian Cage. I'm not saying that Jungle Boy won't get there. He did finish the promo strong, but if you're not fighting Jungle Boy, you're going to be fighting Jack Perry going to the pay-per-view. So he kind of picked it up towards the end, but Christian is just so damn good on the microphone, dude. It's hard to just try to go wit for wit with somebody like him, somebody who's been in the business for so long and has been doing this for so long. You know, it's kind of hard to, I guess, stay up on his level. But that's all the more importance of why you need guys like MJF back, why you need guys like Christian Cage in the company. Adam Cole, he can do it. Bryan Danielson, he can do it. So The power of the promo, man, that is going to be the theme of this week. If you can land that promo, you don't need physicality. Just like Paul Heyman sold the matchup for Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns right before SummerSlam, planting the seeds in your head that, hey, Brock may actually win this matchup. Brock didn't have to go out there and beat up Paul Heyman, or Paul didn't have to go attack Brock Lesnar for him to sell you that final matchup at the pay-per-view. And I think Jon Moxley and CM Punk came out here and did the exact same thing, and you got guys in that locker room who can do it as well. Now, my only question is for AEW Dynamite this week, to the producers, to the creative team, to the management, whoever's running the show, did Jon Moxley and CM Punk come out here and say, look, we're going to do this, CM Punk's going to do this, then I'm going to come back out and I'm going to do that? If they didn't do that, and you guys planned that to yourself, and you planned these cliffhangers of the storylines, I don't understand why you don't implement that same game plan for everybody on the roster. Even if it's not for the whole show, at least implement that game plan for about 70% of the storylines. Guys like Chris Jericho, we know he can carry a storyline by himself. He don't need it. Guys like Moxley and CM Punk, we know they can carry it by themselves. They don't need it. But you have younger talent who can actually use that little bump, use that cliffhanger in their storylines to help get the crowd behind them and interested in their stories. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys did put it together, great job and amazing job. And I want you to see you to do that more with all your younger talent going forward, because storylines, at least for me, that's what really draws me into not just your Dynamite, but into the next week's show, into your Rampage, into the pay-per-view. So hold my attention. The match was great. You can have an amazing matchup that meant nothing, and I'll remember that match maybe for about a month, and then afterwards you can have an amazing storyline, and I'll probably remember that for the better part of 6 to 7 months, maybe at the end of the year, if the storyline is really good. And you can have a decent match at the end of the storyline, as long as that good storyline had a conclusion with that matchup. You know what I'm saying? But let me know what you guys think, man. That's everything we got on AEW Dynamite. Let me know what you guys think about the power of the promo. More importantly, do you want to see the second match between CM Punk and Jon Moxley at All Out, especially with it being so soon after they fought their first matchup? That's pretty much everything we got. Make sure you're following us at The Wrestling Replay on Instagram. Go ahead, like, and subscribe. Turn your notifications if you like what you heard in this video. We'll be back Friday with SmackDown Rampage. Then we got a busy weekend, Clash at the Castle. We got All Out. We got Labor Day weekend. It's going to be exciting. So it's going to be a lot of videos, a lot of content coming to you. So bear with me. All right. But that's everything I got, guys. I'll see you later. I'm Cato. I'm signing out. Peace.